Alright, this is Fakafon's review of Skyrim, obviously. With the new Elder Scrolls coming out, of course I had to talk about it because, well, I like this series. I think it's pretty good, so let's talk about the new one. The game takes place in Skyrim, which is set in Tamriel, a fantastic world that's been created for, well, the Elder Scrolls. And Skyrim is the place where the Norse live because, well, it seems in every Elder Scroll you always change country for some reason. Well, it figures, right? I mean, when you were in Morrowind, everyone was a dark elf. When you were in the Imperial City, everyone was pretty much everything. And now when you go to Skyrim, everyone is a Nord. Or almost. Since Skyrim is in the north, you pretty much will only see snow everywhere. When it comes to the decor of the game, it's not bad. I mean, it's a good countryside with snow, but that's pretty much all there is, which is kind of boring. I mean, when you were playing Morrowind, there was all sorts of places you could go, like the marshlands, the forest, the desert, and stuff like that. But in this game, up to now, all I've seen is pretty much snow and less snow, so, Which leads me to the graphics of the game. They're pretty good. Good graphics, you gotta say. Of course, everything is fucking choppy because I'm playing on the Xbox. I don't know if it's better on the computer, but like the apples are like fucking octagonal. It's ridiculous, but it's still pretty well made. Still, I wouldn't eat any of those apples. And also, oh yeah, well, just leads me to alchemy actually. Alchemy in this game is a bit different than the one in Oblivion, because in Oblivion you could pretty much take anything you found on the ground and turn it into a potion. Corn, I don't know, apples, tomatoes, bam, you got a potion, you sell it, you become rich. In Skyrim, however, there's some cooking and some alchemy, and the cooking is not that great, but it's fun to have. And cooking is not the same thing as alchemy, because if you get an apple, you can't use it in alchemy, you can only use it in cooking. But if you get some real components, like some reagents and all that, that's for alchemy. So there's a difference between the two. And a fun thing too is that you don't know what the ingredients do. Even if you're a good alchemist, you don't know what this type of mushroom does. So you gotta eat it first. And when you eat it, you know what the effects does. Which leads to another weird thing. Cause, yes, there are apples and there's like some kind of stuff you can eat, but then you get to troll fat. You gotta eat troll fat. What the hell? And then you gotta eat butterflies and bees. What the fuck? I don't want to eat butterflies. Yeah, sure, okay, you need to know what they do to put it in alchemy, but you don't just eat butterflies and bees. And what kind of stupid shit did I eat? Oh, right. Pearls. Yeah, sure, okay. You know, diamonds are expensive stuff that you can sell to a store, but pearls? No shit. No, you're not selling that shit. You're eating it. And then you're putting it in your potion. Delicious. Pearls. You gotta eat pearls. Oh, one fun thing I remember, you can do some smithing in this game, which you couldn't do in the other Elder Scrolls. Which, you gotta wonder why it took so long until they put smithing, which is a great idea. You take some metal, you take some smithing skills, you upgrade your weapons, upgrade your armor, create some new armor, create some weapons. It's fantastic, it's a fucking good idea. There's also another thing I really appreciate in this game, and it's the difficulty. You can play, you know, novice, normal, or master, but when you play master, even if you're at the beginning of the game, you can make it out alright, you just gotta be careful. It's like if you were as strong as the enemy, so you're not a hero anymore, you're just this guy with a hammer, so you gotta be careful. Sure, you can use magic, but still, you gotta go more strategy, avoid more attacks, you gotta really upgrade your skills and be careful when you go into the dungeons, you gotta bring potions and stuff like that. When you played Oblivion and you put yourself at master at the beginning of the game, you get killed by rats. You shoot fireballs at fucking rats and they wouldn't die. They would just take it and they bite your ass twice and you're dead. At least in Skyrim, when you start at master, you can make it out alright. You just gotta be careful. It's hard, that's it. It's not impossible. I got a perfect example. The first time you fight a dragon, I think, is when you go into a town and like the king of the town is like, yeah, go kill the dragon, bitch, and you get accompanied by a few men, and the dragon appears and you can fight it. And of course it's extremely hard, but it is possible even at master. You just gotta be really careful. You just always hide when he's near you. Don't go face it head on because you get eaten, literally. And you got a lot of people to help you out, like some archers and stuff like that, so you know, it's a group thing, you're not alone. Of course, later in the game, you gotta fight the dragons alone, but you know, for the beginning, at Master, you can make it out, you're gonna be okay. So, good. Okay, so now let's talk about the leveling up, which is, I guess, my biggest problem with the game. I don't hate it, but I still can't tell if it's a good system or not. When you level up, there's no strength or willpower or agility anymore. You don't have any stats. Everything you upgrade is only your magic, your health, and your stamina. Health gives you more health, magicka gives you more magic, obviously, and stamina will give you more stamina and weight capacity. Now you're gonna need stamina if you're gonna use some heavy weapons, because when you do a big attack you use stamina. When you have a small weapon it uses a small amount, but when you have a big weapon, like for example a warhammer, it's gonna use like 100 points of stamina, and you start with 100 points of stamina, so you do one power attack and that's it for the rest of the battle. You can still fight when you have no more stamina, and you're gonna do the same damage. But you can't do power attacks anymore, and I think there's some types of moves you can't do when you have no stamina, like some special blocks and stuff like that. The reason I don't like it that there's no stats anymore is that you can't really increase your strength or your willpower or your intelligence to get, I don't know, you want to become a better mage, well you get smarter so you get more magic, or you want to become a better fighter, endurance and strength. Now it works with perks, a la Fallout sort of. It's not exactly the same, as you don't get a perk automatically when you level up, which you have to choose. The perks you get, you can keep the points of perks, like let's say you have a 5 perks point, and then you get to upgrade like your, I don't know, your one-handed weapon, and when your one-handed weapon is like reaches 50 points, then you can use your perks at higher levels. So yeah, it's really not the same as the other games. I still can't tell if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's different, and I don't like it as well as before, but it's still okay. Now, usually the perks you can have are pretty much, well, in link with what you want to do, obviously. So if you take some heavy armor perk, well, you get better heavy armor, you get lighter heavy armor, you get special moves with heavy armor. And there's some few things that are kind of weird sometimes. Like I saw a skill, when you put some heavy armor gloves, it makes your punches stronger. Okay, but you very rarely punch in this game. Sometimes you do to like knock out an enemy instead of killing him, but it's pretty rare, and it's kind of a useless skill if you ask me. I don't know, it's for fun, I guess. What else? Oh yeah, now it's not only sneak anymore. You got sneak and pickpocket, which is not the same anymore. There's a weird skill also in pickpocket. Of course, you know, when you pickpocket, you increase your chance of pickpocketing, you pickpocket more gold, etc. But there's one skill. It increases your maximum capacity. What the fuck? You know, it's not that it has no link with pickpocketing, but why put more carrying capacity in pickpocket? If you're a fighter, you're never gonna use pickpocket. Like me, I'm a fighter, I'm not a thief anymore. Well, okay, because normally I do a thief. But anyway, I chose a fighter, so if I want to increase my max weight capacity, I gotta use stamina. I don't want to use pickpocket, that's just, I don't know. There is one good thing about the leveling system though, which I think is really smart, and they should have done that from the beginning. Every skill you increase will increase your level. So you don't have a specialty skill that you need to upgrade in order to level up. Let's say you want to be a fighter. It doesn't matter if you upgrade your magic, you're gonna level up as well. So that's good. Well, anyway, I've pushed this long enough. Let's talk about the story of the game. So at the beginning of the game, you start as a prisoner. Okay. Anyway, you start as a prisoner, and well, you got arrested because you wanted to cross the border, and apparently that's illegal. And you've been captured with the leader of the resistance against the Imperials, because the Imperials, like, this happens 200 years after Oblivion, so it's not the same setting anymore. It's not the same emperor, it's a new emperor, and anyway, something about some gods and some worship and some like restrictions and treaties, whatever. And so now the Nords want to kick the Imperials' ass because the Imperials are acting like douchebags, and the Nords are kind of crazy, so they're kind of kicking everyone's ass anyway. So big in political conflict. Anyway, not really good with politics. I just kick everyone's ass. And then there's the factions, of course. And in this game, the factions are so well made. I mean, the factions in Oblivion weren't boring, but they were really stale. Didn't you think? Like really bland. Like you just felt like a series of missions. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating. It wasn't that bad, but it was kind of average, really mediocre. In this game, when you play in a faction or a guild, you really feel like you're in a faction or a guild, like with a group of people. How the fuck do I explain this? I can't really explain this without going to spoilers, but okay, close this now if you don't want any spoilers. You go into the Dark Brotherhood, okay, and the ultimate goal of your contract is to kill the Emperor, and then you go through all those steps. It's just your only real goal is to kill the Emperor. That's the main goal of the Brotherhood. Of course, you can do some side missions to get a little bit more money, but the main goal is to kill the Emperor. And you do. At the end, you kill the Emperor. Fucking great. It's a really nice scene. It's a really nice story, and the characters are great. Everyone in the Brotherhood was really cool to look at. To talk to, because they had some personality, they had some traits. Even the people you didn't like, you still liked. I'm not gonna talk about the clown. This is a surprise. Okay, if you go in the Dark Brotherhood, you're gonna see a clown. That's all I'm gonna say, okay? Because it's... Anyway, I'm gonna stop my review here. Of course, there's more to talk about in the game, but I didn't play all that much. I played a lot, but not like crazy. So, yeah. If I had to recommend the game, yeah, good recommendation. It's a game that's really worth the money. I don't know if you should get the computer version or the Xbox. Personally, I would go for the computer because I assume it's better made than the Xbox. There's a few bugs on the Xbox, like some behavior loops, some like quests that bug and all that stuff, which I'm used to. I mean, it's Bethesda. We all know they're not really professional when it comes to fixing bugs, right? I'm being mean. Anyway, end of the review. Have a nice day.